Hello, this message is for someone who may be trying to either date or get along with a significant other. And listen, I don't normally get a lot of love messages, but recently I get more and I'm starting to dread it. So let's see if I can stick with this fucking message. Okay. Because if you know anything about me, yeah, I did love readings for a long time, but I'm not a fan. So, anyway, this is kind of a love thing, so I'll try. Um, this is a message for someone who, whether it's a masculine or a feminine, whether it's a man or a woman, however this person identifies, the energy they bring to relationships does not match the energy they want to bring to relationships. Okay? So, let's say we're talking about a woman. A woman who's trying to make something happen with a man in a straight relationship. Okay? A woman who does identify as a woman with a man who does identify as a man. Okay? So let's just set up that example. And she encounters constant problems when she tries to make things work with the kind of man that she tends to be attracted to or that she tends to end up with. Okay? And in this situation, she really has worked on herself, gives it her all, has it together, but and maybe has even managed to find prospective partners that also seem like they have it together and, like a stable people, but no matter the situation, you find yourself like in dynamics that don't work for you and don't meet your expectations or your desires, your needs, even your emotional needs. Okay, you feel like your emotional needs are not usually met in the relationships you find yourself in. Okay, the reason that's happening, if this message is for you and you're resonating so far, is because even though you're a straight woman or straight man identifying exactly as that and looking for a counterpart, you are somehow operating from the opposite dominating energy. Okay, if this message is for you, that's what's going on. So again, let's say you're a woman. We all have masculine and feminine energy within us that we work with. Okay, there's really nobody that is all this or all that. Okay, not a well-balanced person anyway, but there's a dominant energy we operate from. Okay, and I will say other places, not America, not the US, which I say America because everyone around me says America, and because saying USA feels weird. And in Spanish we say estadounidenses, but how do you say that in English without saying Americans? I don't know. I really figured out a weird way to force us to talk about it. But anywho, here where I live now, the energies are very confused. So you'll often meet women who are operating from a very masculine energy, but they're straight feminine women. And you'll meet straight masculine men that are operating from a dominating feminine energy. So that's why it works sometimes, okay? Because if the man is all in his feminine, but presenting all masculine, okay? And the woman is all in her masculine, but presenting all feminine, then it ends up being a good match, okay? So that's what I see a lot of here. But there's a lot of these men and women that, and I think this is who the message is for, who don't find themselves gelling, having chemistry with people who complement them in that way. So there's a lot of these men presenting males in their feminine energy and women presenting female in their masculine energy, that when they end up with their true counterpart, which is, yeah, a man in his feminine or a woman in his masculine, they don't like it. They don't like it. It doesn't work. They feel frustrated. They feel a tension. They feel a lack. And they feel an inability to accept the dynamics, okay? Those people, they want to be more in their true energy. So that's who this message is for. If you're the woman in this case, you find yourself in these relationships because you're attracting also males who present as males but operating in the opposite energy, similar to you presenting female but operating in your masculine energy. So the only way you're going to start having different dynamics is by going back into a feminine energy and letting, or maybe just for the first time in your life, and letting it run things, be the dominating force. Okay, so specifically, if you're a woman, how do you know you're operating in your masculine energy? Well, you want to do everything by yourself. That's usually number one tell. You take some kind of pride in that, usually. You also like providing, you know, you like to get your man things. And I'm not talking gifts or making food or do things for him. I'm saying, like, it's like you find yourself wooing this man. Like dining him and wining him and taking him on vacations and, you know, courting him. If you're the one courting the man, but it's supposedly a masculine man, and you know that if you stop courting him, the relationship will probably fizzle out. That's how you know you're in your masculine energy, okay? And that's how you know you're dealing with a man in his feminine energy. Men who present as men but are in their feminine energy want to be courted like a woman. They want to be wooed. They want to be chased. They want to be the prize. And there's a lot of those in the States right now. So those masculine women love those. They probably, you know, you've seen probably a big trend of women proposing to men. Even when they don't propose to men, many times women, I've noticed here, just prep the man to propose, you know, like they'll set him up so he has to, kind of, or they'll like put all the ingredients. So it's almost like, if you just keep walking in your normal direction, you will inevitably propose to me. You know, so again, playing a masculine role of taking the lead, of shaping the energy. See, a woman operating from her feminine energy is basically creating such a temple within herself that she becomes the refuge for others, the place that others seek wisdom and refuge and healing from. That's a woman in her feminine. So a woman in her feminine, of course, she's gonna welcome help and devotion and offerings for what she gives, which is of herself. A woman in her feminine is so abundant in herself that anyone that she accepts, she's blessing and feeding and nourishing by the mere presence that she has. Now, that's what these men in their feminine think they are, right? They think they're the prize because they think inherently by being with them, you're becoming better. And, you know, I don't know. I don't know if that's really how it works. I've seen it a lot. And even if he has all the finances, is he really nourishing your soul? Is he making babies for you? It's not the same. So hopefully this was helpful.